Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Shataria here at Chicago Branch, Great Millstone, prophesizing the return of the Heavenly Father Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shai. You all ignorantly call him Jesus, but his true and Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. Coming at you with another lesson, but as always, before we get started, we're going to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Raka Akadash. Double honors to our apostles and our elders here at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Honors to the hopeful elect. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the biblical and true Hebrews of the Bible. Salutation to all the Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity, the speckled bird, and all those whose lineage goes back to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, healthy Barakatah, and to the Akwaf, and those of you out there listening and learning, Shalom and Barakatah to you also. This is a response video that the Elder Malcolm wanted everybody to do. I should have did this last week, but I'm playing catch up. I've been a little sick and still feeling my way back, but that's just straight, no excuse, laziness. But this is the response video that he wanted us to do about some scoffers that were on his comment page. Lord will, the lesson is edifying through the Spirit. And, this is just a response video the elder wanted us to do, talk about some of these two-third jakes who don't know the Bible, coming up against, the Northern Kingdom, talking about they not Israelites, they not Hebrew. And you hear this from a lot of disgruntled niggas, these black-only Israelites. You also got some Hispanics, okay, who call themselves whatever they is, and they don't consider themselves Hebrew. You got some, these Latinos, some of them, they say what they call it, they bywords, they Mexican, they Puerto Rican, all right, but in actuality they are Hebrew, okay. And we're just gonna talk about these scoffers for a minute, okay, and the Northern Kingdom, we're going to talk about how the Northern Kingdom, the Latinos, Native Americans are Hebrews, okay? But they saying they not Hebrew, all right? Yeah, these black-only Israelites, they don't really know the Bible. The Latinos and Native Americans are Hebrew, okay? Well, we're going to prove this here, okay, through the scriptures. I mean, if you go into South America, you're going to see pyramids, all right? Same pyramids we built in ancient Egypt, okay? And the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the biblical Hebrews of the Bible. In fact, the Northern Kingdom went into captivity first. Then the Southern Kingdom. That's called the transatlantic slave trade, all right? Okay? But if you go to Salakia, if you go to South America right now today, in South America, you will see pyramids, all right? And if you go to ancient Egypt, you'll see pyramids also. So the same pyramids that's in Egypt are in the South Americas. Now, how we building pyramids there, and they building pyramids over South America, in the Americas, but they not Hebrew, all right? But we're gonna, we're gonna, have scoffers in the last days, so to speak, okay? It talks about that in 2 Peter, I think it is, that 3rd chapter. We're gonna open up with that first, but we're gonna talk a little bit more and then jump right into the precepts. And this is what happened during, that time of Jeroboam and Rehoboam and the 12 tribes split, okay, where Levi, Benjamin, and Judah, they stayed in the Southern Kingdom, and the other, 10 tribes went into the Northern Kingdom. That's that split, okay, between Jeroboam and Rehoboam, and that's actually another lesson in itself, but it's a split nonetheless. Salakia. But we're going to bring out a few precepts to back this up, just touching bases on it, okay? But Cristobal Columbus, the first trip to the Americas, okay, was funded by Queen Isabella I of Castile and King Ferdinand II of Aragon in 1492. Same year, Rodrigo Borgia became Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, and in 1493 issued the Pampa Bulls in 1493 as a intercarter as an intercarter, which confirmed Spain's rights to the new lands. Okay, and that's going into that John 10:10. But the beast come but to kill, steal, and destroy. That's how they got this land. Okay, through robbery, murder, boss BS. All right, that's what he do. But how you gonna discover something and people already here? Well, let's hit a few precepts, and they had 10 on that trip. More importantly, they had like 10 or 12 Hebrew interpreters that was on that voyage with them also. Okay, but we gonna hit the precepts, okay, and get right into it. What do we need first? I think we're gonna open up, like I said, we're gonna open up with that Second Peter. Okay, let's get that. Just touching bases on it real quick. Let's get Second Peter. Okay. And let's get Second Peter 3. And we're gonna start at 3. We could start at the top. Second Peter 3:1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. Knowing this, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts. Okay, you see what I'm talking about, Israel? So you're gonna have scoffers, okay, that buck up against this Bible, all right? Especially in these last days, they're gonna be scoffing. They're gonna be mocking the prophets. They're gonna be finding ways to go against the doctrine. And just people who don't know the Bible, okay? And you're gonna have scoffers who are agents that have been paid off to make the Israelites look bad, all right? So that's what's gonna happen. Let me read that one more time. It says, 2 Peter 3:3, straight to the point this time, Israel, knowing this, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, okay? So we're going to have these scoffers, all right? Ain't no way around it. But Romans 3:3 say, what if some didn't believe, all right? What if they didn't? Let's get it. We ain't got to butcher it. Let's grab it. Let's get Romans 3:3, I believe it is. Romans 3:3. And it says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effort? God forbid, yea, let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mayest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged, okay? So, man, what if some didn't believe? Let every man be a liar, and Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, truth, all right? Because everything that's prophesied in this Bible, it's going to come to pass, Israel, okay? We're going to touch bases on a couple of precepts to prove that the northern kingdom, okay, is actually Israel, all right? The so-called biblical Hebrews of the Bible. So if some didn't believe, hey, that's on them, all right? You say, let God be true and every man a liar. But everything in this book is going to come to pass, all right? Everything that's been prophesied by Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, is going to come to pass. Let's get this here before we jump in. Isaiah 55:11. And it says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the things whereto I send it. So again, let God be true and every man a liar. So we know we're going to have scoffers in these last days, bucking up against the prophets, bucking up against this truth, just making up their own, just doing their own thing. Okay, what's that record? It's your thing. Do what you want to do. But it say don't add or take away from this book in Deuteronomy. Okay, so man, but you're gonna have these scoffers in the last days. All right. But let's get a couple of precepts. And I said this was going to be quick. Lord will, it is edifying through the Spirit. We're going to go to 2 Kings first. Let's get 2 Kings first. All right. Let's get 2 Kings and go to the 17th chapter. And we can start at the top. It says, in the 12th year of Oz, king of Judah, begat Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria. Now Israel, Samaria is the capital of the northern kingdom. All right. Over Israel 9 years. Okay. And he had did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Salmanasar, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no presents to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. So it took him 3 years to do it. It was a 3-year war, right? Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in the Halah and in the Habah by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. Okay. So we know they went into captivity first. All right. And that's the northern kingdom. Then came later on the southern kingdom because of their disobedience, went into captivity. And that captivity is known as the transatlantic slave trade. All right. Now let's find out where the northern kingdom went after King Solomon took them into the, cities of the Medes, okay, and put them in Holah. Okay, he says, in the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in the Habar by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. Now let's find out where they went from there. Remember King Solomon, okay? Now we're going to go to 2nd Esdras. All right, Israel, follow me and stay with me. Let's go to 2nd Esdras and let's get 2nd Esdras 13, and we're going to start about 40. It says, these are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. You see, I just gave you that 2 Kings, right? King Salmanasar of Assyria. There you go again. Okay, follow me now, Israel. 2nd Esdras 13th chapter, verse 40. These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Okay? It says, but they took counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep the statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow place of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half. And the same region is called Astroth, and that means another land, okay? So they was taken out of their own land. Samaria was the capital of the northern kingdom, and Ephraim was the head tribe of the 10 tribes, okay? Ephraim was the main tribe, okay? And you just seen, I gave you 2 Kings 17, King Solomon's, okay, came up against Hosea because he consulted to Saul, all right? Saul, king of Egypt, and brought him no presents. So he had him locked up. And when he had him locked up, he just said, oh, well, what the heck? He went up into the northern kingdom and marched on Assyria. It was a 3-year war. You just heard me in 2 Kings 17 chapter, okay? All right, but they besieged it and took him captive into Assyria and placed them in Halah, okay? And into the cities of the Medes, all right? And from there, here we go again. I'm going to give it to you one more time. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Uzziah the king, whom Solomon's, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, so came they into another land. But they took counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep the statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow path of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Astroth, which means another land, all right? So that's how the northern kingdom got over here. And we all know about the southern kingdom, okay? And that was when we went into captivity. All of it is Israel. But when the southern kingdom went into captivity, that was known as the transatlantic slave trade, all right? And I just told you they building pyramids, right? You see what I'm talking about? Building pyramids in South America, Mexico, Chile. Then in Chile, I think they found them like crucifix stones too. They just had a thing on Fox News. What was that? Maybe a year ago, a couple of years ago, how they had a report on the like crucifix stones in Chile. With the Paleo Hebrew on them. And I think they also had the 10 Commandments on them as well, okay? So definitely the northern kingdom, which is made up of, Issachar, which are the Mexicans, okay? Asher, the Colombians, all right? You see what I'm talking about? Chile, Zebulun, okay? All that's Israel, okay? And that's the southern kingdom that was taken away in that 2 Kings 17 chapter. And from there, when they got placed in Halah and in the city of the Medes, from there, King Uzziah took them. I just gave it to you in that 2nd Ezra 13 chapter, 40 through 45. Brought them into the Americas, okay? The new land, all right? And like I said, they knew that it was Hebrews over there when they set that expedition, okay? Queen Isabella I and King Ferdinand II funded Cristobal Colon to take this expedition, all right? And on that expedition, they had 10 out of 12 Hebrew interpreters with them, okay? So the northern kingdom, a lot of them, like I said, don't really call themselves Hebrew right now, this present day. They call themselves, I'm Mexican, I'm Puerto Rican. Okay, you see what I'm talking about? These are, it said we were going to be called bywords, all right? And that's what they named us, just gave us names, okay? They called us niggas, all right? Call them spicks, wetbacks. These are the bywords that the Lord was talking about. But we're the biblical Hebrews of the Bible, okay? All right, I didn't want to, stretch this out or anything, make it too long. So we're just going to hit this here and close, all right? Let's get this. Where do I want to go? Let's get it right here. Let's go here. All right, and what we need, Jeremiah 50 and Jeremiah 50 and 33. Let's go here. It's Jeremiah 50 and 33. It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah, Judah is the southern kingdom, all right, were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. And we're still oppressed right now today, okay? In Babylon, aka America, okay? You see what I'm talking about? You see ICE, all right? They harassed in the northern kingdom, harassed in the southern kingdom too, all right? Okay? We're called a bunch of bywords and I words, okay? And we're oppressed together, all right? And Salakia, we're going to be oppressed until Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, comes and redeems us out of this captivity like he did all the rest of them, okay? But definitely the northern kingdom, the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans, okay, most of your penal, prisons, the penal, codes and prisons, 85% are made up of who? Issachar, okay, and Judah, all right? The so-called blacks and Latinos make up 85% of the prison population. And if you see in the neighborhoods, who you next door to? You got, Ricky Ricardo next door to you. Okay, you got Jake right here. So again, the Northern Kingdom is definitely Israel, okay? They are indeed Hebrew, all right? They are Hebrew Israelites. Jeremiah 50 and 33, again, let's get it, and we'll close with that. It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. And we're in this low state right now, this present day. This is what you're seeing real time, firsthand. Like I said, and then you got the Native Americans, okay, Gad, all right, and Reuben, the Seminole Indians, okay. They got them scattered throughout a bunch of reservations, okay? No irrigation system, so we're oppressed, man. And all of this makes up Israel, okay? All this makes up the Hebrew Israelites, the 12 tribes. So indeed, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans are the biblical and true Hebrews of the Bible. That's pretty much all I have. Lord will, the lesson was edifying through the Spirit. In closing, I'd like to say Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekah Kadash, Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, and Abba Babo. Until the next time.